Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hose Connection Halftime Report in our Centier Bank studio. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jack Thiel. Alongside me, Rick Novak, Justin Cole, producing today's Hose Connection Halftime Report. Now, a lot of games now entering that third quarter, but we are in halftime. Our second game night built by Von Tobel, which is Valpo at Chesterton. We're going to talk about a couple of these games, kind of give you the breakdown of what's happened as of now. The first game we'll talk about is our first game night built by Von Tobel. Crown Point Bulldogs, Lafayette Jefferson Bronchos, the rematch from last year where Lafayette Jefferson ended Crown Point's undefeated season at home. They're trying to do the same tonight, and it started really good for the Bronchos. A 55-yard touchdown pass from the freshman quarterback Tristan Barrett to DJ Young. And on the very next play, the Bronchos kick an onside kick and recover it. Now, they weren't able to score on that. They did kick a field goal later in that quarter to go up 10-0, but the Bulldogs have responded. They've scored 21 straight unanswered points. You have Larry Ellison, who had a touchdown run, and Noah Ehrlich, the quarterback, has 2 rushing touchdowns of his own. So we stand at 21-10. That game is currently in the third quarter. But, Rick, we almost saw that nightmare for Crown Point early in the game. Now, obviously, it was only one quarter, and the game's not over yet. But when that touchdown happened, and then you have the onside kick, it almost felt like you're watching the same movie as you were last year.
Yeah, no, we were watching it in the studio here, and that's the thought we had. I know we were talking about it. Not the start Crown Point wanted, I'm sure, and it looked a little bit, it was definitely an auspicious start. But they've kind of righted the ship here. 3 straight touchdowns. They look to be in control of the game now. They need to go out, finish it. Now this one's kind of halfway through the third quarter. Now they had a little bit of an earlier start time to accommodate Jeff coming up from Eastern time. But Crown Point, as they go deeper in this tournament, they can't have these slow starts.
Yeah.
Against a team, Jeff maybe not as good as they were last year. Crown Point able to kind of, take that first few kind of punches to the face, kind of straighten up a little bit and get going again. But as they get deeper in the tournament, they're going to have to come out and play their best football all 4 quarters. They can't be asleep at the wheel, so to speak, to start games.
I think what was very telling was that freshman quarterback on the first play, airing out a pass for 55 yards in kind of the conditions we have now. It's raining a little harder than it was in the start of that game, but still, when do you see a freshman quarterback airing out the football on the first play of the game?
No, it's definitely, credit to the Jeff coaching staff to have the guts to do that. Also, kind of understanding that Crown Point playing in that Duneland Conference, most teams are running the football, and basically no team is throwing 55-yard bombs, or at least not to start the game at least. So Jeff had a good plan to come in there, maybe surprise the Crown Point secondary a little bit, and got a quick score. Again, though, Crown Point, we've watched the game, they've tightened up their pass coverage now because Jeff has kept trying to go to that well, kept trying to throw deep balls here. But Crown Point, their coverage has gotten a lot better. And right now, like I said, I think they're in control of this game. They just need to go and finish it.
Well, they'll play the winner of Lake Central and Portage. The big story coming out of the Burial Grounds. Chase Kwiatkowski comes back, and even bigger news, Big Ten commit out of Iowa, Xavier Williams is back for the Indians. He missed the last 2 games. He's missed 5 years total. Now, the last time these 2 teams played, Xavier Williams didn't play in it. It was actually Chase Kwiatkowski's really first game without his star running back and showed his passing abilities. But Xavier Williams is back, and we kind of talked about how without Xavier Williams, Portage has every chance to win this game. But when Lake Central does have Xavier Williams, it's a very hard team to beat. And not trying to look ahead, but if Lake Central can win this game, they have that rematch possibly against Crown Point, a game where they also didn't have Xavier Williams. But good to see their quarterback and running back after missing the last week of the regular season.
Well, yeah, of course you want to get healthy at this time. Every game it's win or go home.
Yeah.
So, Portage, that first game they had, Lake Central versus Portage, Lake Central only won by 1 point.
Yeah.
But you bring back Williams, like you said, that Iowa commit, Big Ten caliber running back. He's such a load in the backfield that he really is such an additional factor for that LC offense. He's really their bell cow. So him versus not having him, it's a big difference, and we're seeing that right now. LC looks to be in control of the game, and they're shutting out Portage on offense too. So they just have to keep this going here in the second half, and they should have a date with Crown Point, potentially, not to look too far ahead already, but potentially a rematch with Crown Point next week for a sectional title.
Now, Crown Point hasn't had many fits all year, but Lake Central was one of the teams to give them a little bit of a fit, so we'll see how that one plays out. Our second game night built by Von Tobel. A little bit of a shocker. Now, Mike DeWan and I, we said don't sleep on the Trojans And you can't sleep on the Trojans. Up on the state champs last year, Valpo Vikings 14-3. Garrett Lewis, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Vikings. They've only had a field goal in the game. And look, we've talked about how it's so hard to win at Chesterton. This is a team that plays a lot of other teams tough. Crown Point and Chesterton were tied at 7 in the third quarter at Chesterton. Lake Central barely squeaked out with a win with Xavier Williams. And Valpo and Chesterton faced off early in the year. It was only 28-14. Valpo now goes into halftime down by 11. You could maybe tell that this is not where they thought they'd be going. And I think when we were watching the broadcast, one thing I saw is they looked defeated, I would say. Down by 11 against Chesterton. You know, the old saying goes, when the underdog is in the game at halftime, they're almost the favorites at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could tell there was some body language issues with Valpo. Not issues, I shouldn't say that, but you could tell their body language was not good.
Yeah.
You know, they understood kind of what had happened. I mean, Chesterton really came out in that first half, punched them in the mouth, controlled them on defense, was able to run the football effectively with Garrett Lewis, and right now they're in total control of this game. The Trojans are 14-3. Valpo without Thomas Berta playing running back. Now they're down their first string and second string running back.
Yeah.
Now it's Justin Clark. Can Justin Clark in this passing game and his running ability step up and be able to get the Valpo Vikings to the promised land? Because right now they're in a dogfight. They're against a team. It's a rivalry game, and a team that right now is very much up to the task, and they won the first half. Chesterton completely dominated Valpo there. Valpo's going to need – they get the ball here to start the second half. I think they need a quick score, and then they need a stop on defense, maybe to get some momentum on their side. Then I think it's a whole new ball game. But I really do think getting that score coming out of the half is very vital to them right now.
Chesterton's kryptonite this year has been playing all 4 quarters. You know, they've been able to keep themselves in these games for about 3.5 quarters, but it's always finishing that final fourth quarter they've had problems with. So definitely a tall task for them. They'll play the winner of a very close matchup going on right now. Michigan City at LaPorte, 6-0 the Wolves lead. Now a scary situation happened at the game. Tyler Bush, starting quarterback, was carted and ambulanced off the field. We hope everything is okay with their quarterback, but nevertheless, it's in the second quarter. The Wolves are up 6-0. This is another rivalry game, but obviously there's a game going on, but there's a bigger concern going on with the health of Tyler Bush. It's so hard to manage those types of things because you want to win the game, don't get me wrong, but the health of the young man is very important.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that comes first in any sort of football game. And, you know, it's a very scary situation, like you said. So we're, Tyler Bush is in our thoughts right now, and we're hoping that everything is okay there, and it was just a precautionary measure. And, for the teams playing, going back to more of the game, I mean, we saw they had to re-warm up after that, and it's
it was about a 20-minute break there.
Yeah, it can be hard, to kind of get reacclimated and especially to kind of not just physically get stretched out, but also kind of mentally as well. So we'll see how that one kind of plays out here. They still had about 10 minutes left in the second quarter. So it was, like you said, it was a pretty substantial delay. So as we get updates, we'll see. I mean, Michigan City obviously dominated the first matchup there, 35-0, but that was with Bush, and now with Bush obviously out for the rest of this game, we'll see what happens because on that play actually that Bush got hurt on, was a turnover for LaPorte. So LaPorte had the ball then coming out of that long break. So we'll see how the game ends up going. Again, rivalry game in a sectional. I think this one might be anyone's ball game at this point.
We'll stay in that class. We'll go over to the Battle of Hammond. Morton and Hammond Central, 6-6 the score is now. The first game was not close at all. The Governors got the best of the Wolves, but that was a game where Deshaun Woods only played the first drive. Well, he's back tonight, and how does he say he's back? About a 70-yard rushing touchdown to tie the game at 6. This game means a lot. We talked about how it doesn't matter what the records are. It doesn't matter what's going on. These guys want to beat each other. They want to win. They want those bragging rights. And, boy, do we have a close one. Because if you go back to last year, Hammond Central ended Morton's season in sectionals. They got the best of them in both of those Battle of Hammonds. Morton got the best in this year's version of the Battle of Hammond. Tied right now at 6, very close one. They'll play the winner of Munster and Maryville. Maryville on top, 28-0. It was very close in the beginning. The Mustangs really hanging in there, but look, the Maryville Pirates are a loaded team, and we talk about offense all the time. We love to see offense. It's it's where you have your popcorn. It's like a movie, but their defense is very stifling. I mean, their defense has been some of the best in the region. I believe 5 of their 7 wins they've held opponents to single digits. And Munster is a good offense. They run that wishbone offense to perfection. Daniel Askerdam, he's the league leading rusher, in the area. He averages almost 35 carries a game. But like we said, this is a Maryville team that is just very loaded on talent and skill, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I mean they're right now. I think they're playing better.
Yeah.
I think in the middle of the season they were kind of dicey on offense, where there was real question marks about how far this team could go, specifically because people didn't trust their offense.
Yeah.
But they've been playing better lately. Their defense is still so strong and so stout that it really gives them an opportunity to win every game that they're in, because they're not going to give up that many points. Right now, I mean, I think they're pretty well positioned to maybe get out of this sectional. And with Valpo having some trouble against Judd, we don't know what's going to end up happening in that game. Maryville could potentially, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but they potentially could go down that run that you saw Valpo get on.
Most likely
year.
It was going to be Maryville versus Valpo down the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what everyone was projecting. But Chesterton looks to be breaking the party, so to speak, or bus, or whatever the expression is. And Maryville, they got to, once they get past Munster, then they're going to have the winner of Morden and Hammond Central. But Maryville, not to get too ahead of themselves, but they're in a position to make a run here, I think. And they just got to keep, doing what they're doing on defense, and they got to keep getting better on offense, because that's really going to be the make or break thing for them this year.
All it takes is one game to have that slip up. We saw it last week against Hobart, and the team they lost to New Prairie, they're leading KV 14-0 at halftime. That one's close. The Wheeler Bearcats trying to win their 7th game in a row under first-year head coach Nick Testa. They lead the Bremen Lions 15-10. Now Wheeler, they had the bye, so they had that week off. Kind of wondered if that was going to really stifle their team in a bit, because you're on that 6-game win streak. You kind of want to keep the ball rolling, but then you get that bye and things get a little weird. You don't do your usual schedule. Well, doing good so far. They'll play the winner of West Lafayette and Rensselaer, so that one will be interesting to see as well. North Judson leads South Newton 21-0. The Triton Trojans lead the Culver Cavaliers, who got their first win last week in sectionals, but they are trailing 49-0. The Boone Grove Wolves and the Hanover Central Wildcats. This one was exploding with offense, but the only offense has been the Hanover Central Wildcats. They lead 28-7. Boone Grove actually had the lead first. It was a Mark Rowland touchdown to make it 7-0, but the Hanover Central Wildcats have scored 28 unanswered points since then. Hanover Central, it's not like we want to see a team not do well, but you're always trying to think, when are they going to slip up? Because this team has just played perfect football throughout the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about all year their transition to the NCC from the GSSC.
Yeah.
And how, maybe people thought they were going to do good, but maybe not run the table and go undefeated and win the conference.
Yeah.
But they've been up to every task. Last year, they put the beating on Boone Grove. And they've been, Boone Grove started out, got a first strike, but then now it's kind of same old story. Hanover, I think we had the stats. Hanover outscored them 132-7 the last two times
they've played.
So Hanover is absolutely dominated. Now I think it's next week. They're going to play, the winner of West Lafayette and Rensselaer.
Yeah.
And last year Hanover played West Lafayette in the title game and lost pretty substantially. They're going to get West Lafayette again here, I think. And it's about finishing the job, winning a sectional championship. Can they do it? Because West Lafayette is a very good program, and I think they're a step up in competition from the NCC teams that Hanover has played. So can they get to that next level, try to break through, win that sectional title? We'll see next week, because I think they're rolling right now. I think they just have to stay in control of this game here. West Lafayette is leading Rensselaer, so maybe a little bit of revenge for Hanover next week, potentially trying to get that sectional title. But West Lafayette has been a roadblock for them and other region teams here in the past few years, so it'll be up to the Wildcats to get past them.
Hanover Central's last home loss in 2 years West Lafayette last year in the sectional championship. So
they're very good.
Last time we heard, Culver Academy was leading Highland Trojans. We did not get an exact score, but last time we heard the Culver Academy Eagles were leading the Highland Trojans. The winner of that game plays the winner of New Prairie and KV. The LaVille Lancers, who defeated the Andrean 59ers, your old school, they are defeating. They're beating Whiting right now, 37-0. So LaVille trying to go to 10-1 on the year. Let's switch back to our second game night, built by Vontold, which will be starting in just a short bit. Valpo at Chesterton. Give me your keys right now. If you're Valpo, you're Bill Marshall in the locker room. 14-3 is not where you expected to be at all. What are you telling your team in the locker room to not just obviously come back in the game, but get their spirits up in a way that wants to make them fight?
Well, I would say, last year we won a state title, and we were down in almost every one of those games in the half. So this is not unfamiliar territory for us. This game is not over with, and we have plenty of time to do something. We have to go out and play with a sense of urgency, but let's not panic. Look, we're down 11. We're not going to get 11 points in one play. We need to keep making. We need to stack positive plays. Like I said, let's go out there. We get the ball to start the second half. Touchdown, stop. Now we're right in this game, and anything goes. So I think that's what I'm telling my team right now. And, hey, we got 24 minutes to defend the state championship. How do you guys want? Do you want to go out in the first game of playoffs, or do you want to go farther? And I think that's really what you tell those guys, and that's all the motivation they need.
What about Chesterton? Just because you want to come out with a win, you don't want to play too conservative, though. You have that 11-point lead. You want to keep the way you've been playing on defense and offense. How do you make sure you do that? But like I said, not trying to play till the clock hits zero, trying to still play your offense, your game plan, not playing for the clock to run out.
Yeah, I think foot on the gas. That's what I'll tell everybody. Hey, this game is not over with. We played a great half of football there, but we have to play another great half of football here because we're going to get their best shot now coming out of the locker room. That's for sure. So defense, right now, if we get a stop, I'm telling my defense, we get a stop right now coming out of the half, we're in the driver's seat of this game. Yeah. Let's get a stop. Offense, we've moved the ball at will running the football right now. Keep the foot on the pedal, put the dagger on the throw, basically. Nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin.
Let's go for this one. It's 24 minutes for us to take out a state champion and potentially, set ourselves up for a Cinderella run. But even so, that's what I'm telling my guys if I'm Coach Peterson.
Amazing story for the Trojans. Brady McCormack wasn't even the starting quarterback going into the series, the backup quarterback, but a chance to get a sectional win over the former state champions. That's going to be it for the Hose Connections Halftime Report, but all those scores you can view right now on our hometown scoreboard, courtesy of our friends from Strack and Van Til. You can view that here on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be going up throughout the night and tomorrow morning. But Rick and I, we're not done. We're going to be on the RSN wrap-up show in a little bit and get you caught up with all the region football scores going on in sectional semifinals. But for Rick and Justin Cole in our Centier Bank Studios, have a great night, and we'll see you in a little bit